cacophony.
That's a good one. I like that.
A veritable cacophony of individual interests saying, please, Paw Sox, come here. We'll pay you anything. So guess what? They lied.
Well, isn't that
Prove me wrong. They lied.
Isn't that like when you lie to a potential employee and say, well, I've already got a job offer on the table for, $10,000 more a year. And they go, yeah, well, we can't afford that. See you.
Or, since we're mining cultural icons from the 70s here, another sage for the ages, if you will, Rosanna would say, never mind. So the whole thing was a farce. They made it up. Now, this week, we are treated to Lucky Larry Lucchino of the not-so-lucky Boston Red Sox, who, by the way, has got his own trail of tears across the major leagues as he's worked across different enterprises. So don't think that this guy is exactly the Mahatma Gandhi of Major League Baseball. All right? Now he's telling us we need to be flexible. There are a variety of ways that I think flexibility can be used here in terms of perhaps that of a more scatological sense.
Oh, man. Right. You're way ahead of me this week.
Right. So, yes, Mr. Lucchino, Rhode Island taxpayers are inordinately, incredibly, expressively flexible. I mean, to the degree of ways that we've never even heard before. But no, I guess we don't need to be flexible now. I guess we can actually draw the line in the sand. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know, we could draw the hard line. Hey, right now we've got on the line a good friend of mine that I've, one of these folks that I've met, if you will, spiritually throughout talk radio land, throughout the politics, yet had never had the opportunity to meet until a few weeks ago. We've got Monique Chartier from Rhode Island Taxpayers. Monique, are you out there?
I am here. I'm enjoying your show very much.
Thank you.
I
hope we're not being caustic, perhaps a tad cynical today.
Not at all. Not
I am inflexible in my skepticism.
But Monique, I'm going to give you an opportunity. It's funny because you, Monique, if listeners aren't familiar with the efforts of Monique Chartier and the Rhode Island Taxpayers, you need to become familiar with them. And we're going to have Monique.
Very kind.
No, we're going to have Monique on the show very soon because what I like about their efforts is, in a very large sense, they're apolitical. They are targeted directly towards bottom-line issues regarding the Rhode Island budget and manage to be technical yet accessible and keep a lot of the personalities and things out of it. But you see,
thank you, Pat.
Monique, right now you're on the coalition. See, we're kind of like the ill-behaved children of WPRL. So for the next couple of minutes, I just want you. All right, no one else is listening. Pretend no one else is listening. All right, I want you to have sort of one of those Gestalt therapy sessions, kind of like the howl. I want you to just. I'm going to shut up now, which is hard for me to do. You can tell. I just want you to let loose, Monique. I want the inner Monique to come out and perform on the radio-based, both digital and analog, gastrointestinal political surgery on these guys. Go for it.
You're putting me on the spot, Pat. I will say there's so much that you've said so many great things today. I would like to echo that Gina Raimondo is a very intelligent woman indeed, and unfortunately she is belying what it is that she is demonstrating actually what it is that you said, and that is it just seems like she's, as it turns out, she's putting her own political interest ahead of the best interest of the state, and that's becoming repeatedly more and more clear, I am very sorry to say. And for example, let's just take one thing. She said while she was running that she was going to cure the budget situation by neither cutting nor taxing. It is not. She is a numbers woman. She's extremely intelligent. Unfortunately, that is sounding more and more like a deliberate lie because it certainly is not what she has done. But she should have known. She is a very smart woman. She's a numbers woman. She should have known she was not going to be able to neither tax nor cut. So that was like really a deliberate fairy tale while she was running, and that really bugs me. What I wanted to go back to, though, was what you were talking about when you kindly took me on the air, which is that a very critical point that you've raised, which is that New Bedford and Worcester are declining to offer public money to the Paw Sox, and that's a critical point. And what I wanted to say is, or to point out, is that the Massachusetts, declined to do 38 studios.
Mm-hmm.
We took 38 studios. Can we please learn from that and not do the Paw Sox and have it be the same disaster that 38 studios was? Let's learn from Massachusetts in so many ways, and this is the one critical one.
Let me run something by you, because you're absolutely right on target. You know, when we made the decision, I say we, being the royal we, the 1%, and I always will allege that the 1% in Rhode Island is the political establishment here. When they made the decision to pay back the 38 studios bonds, they were obsessed with the bond rating of the state of Rhode Island. All right, let's just put that aside for a second. One can make an argument yay or nay for that. Quite frankly, I agree with Mr. Riley in thinking that was just balderdash. Now, however, let's flash forward to the tolls. They're willing to put on the line somewhere north of $700 million in revenue bonds. Now, again, to quote one of my favorite philosophers, I'm not a smart man, okay? But isn't that hypocritical?
So now, how are you saying that? I'm not quite fully understanding.
Okay.
How
So
are you
in other words,
jeopardize?
in other words, $700 million in additional bonding.
And by the way, let's just stop a minute and say what a staggeringly large program they're proposing. $700 million for one aspect of it, but $4.8 billion
Right.
is the total over 10 years. What an enormous amount of money and an enormous project with so much fat and so much potential for abuse that this is going to be. So you were saying.
My point being, on one hand, they wanted to pay back the 38 studios bonds.
Yes.
Because and I think they shouldn't have. I think they should have held back, all right, until an investigation was done. But they were hell-bent to do it, primarily to cover up their own malfeasance.
Right.
Now, now all of a sudden, caution is thrown to the wind, and they're willing to put us on the hook for potentially billions of dollars worth of transportation bonds.
Multi-generational debt.
Right, multi-generational debt, which is based on hypothetical numbers of a potential toll impact, of which is not even correctly characterized by this administration as to the, shall we say, the expanse and the broadness of who's going to be affected by that. It's staggering.
That's an excellent point that I haven't even gotten that far. I'm so aghast at just the toll proposal that I hadn't even gotten as far as the fact that this could put us in serious financial jeopardy.
Right.
I didn't even get that. That's a great point. That didn't even occur to me. And you're absolutely right. And Laughlin was doing with the numbers today, and it's something. What did he say? It's $300,000. It was $100 million a year in tolls. It's what's going to have to be collected. Is what he said. I don't even know if that's true. But
and where does this money? I mean, it's kind of cute when you overstate the convention center authority's potential impact, and it's kind of quaint when you do it on a shopping mall. But when you anchor the state directly into a revenue relationship, based on numbers that are hallucinogenic at best, and yet at the same time characterize these tolls as being focused narrowly. And I happen to work in transportation, and I can tell you that everybody from your landscaper, your condo complex, to the plethora of coffee companies that are running trucks around the Rhode Island that we all enjoy so much, to the catering companies, to every aspect,
anybody who rents a U-Haul,
and every single.
Dave, don't go past that. That's what I thought of. I was like, wait a minute, what about the U-Haul trucks everybody's going to rent? Are those going to be subject to the tolls?
Right. Well, and here's the thing, and in Rhode Island, it never just the line never stays where it's supposed to stay. So they could say, this is only for 18-wheelers. In 2 years, it's going to be, we're going to do pickup trucks too. Oh, in 2 years after that, it's going to be compact cars and motorcycles.
Right.
Before you know it,
backwards,
they have this. It's like taxation creep.
Right.
Just kind of.
And wait a minute, you're the liberal saying this. I mean, you've got at this point, it's so outrageous that you've got liberals, progressives, Greens, Libertarians, mainstream Republicans, everybody. Yet it's yet another. I got to say that if Gina has accomplished anything, it's bringing us all together to realize that we've got one common enemy.
And they constantly say, "Oh well, don't worry, we won't do that this time."
Baloney.
We won't. We won't let that happen. We know this has happened in the past, but we're not going to let that happen this time.
And the other thing is that she's making promises she can't possibly carry out because she's term limited. So what is she doing? Promising that the tolls will not apply to anybody else. If she gets reelected, that's at most 8 years. But we don't believe it. It's not, as you said. I mean, the extra toll tax for the DEPCO never went away. I mean, the list is on and on of how it doesn't stop.
Right, and there isn't even the illusion that the tolls are going to sunset when this quote-unquote, extended spate of, shall we say, facilities management on steroids is going to take place. At least Massachusetts gave people the illusion when it came time for the Turnpike bonds that once the Turnpike was paid off, that, okay, we don't have to do this anymore. And then they sprung the fact on, well, we've got $100,000 a year toll tickets we got to pay for, so we have to refi the whole Turnpike. I mean, it's just... And where is the attention to detail? At a certain point, when do they tell us, what I'd like to know in the wake of Mr. Skeffington's passing is who's the new Jim Skeffington? Who's the lawyer, who's the law firm lined up, all right, to execute these atrocious bonds, and who's going to make all the scuttle off of them? Where's the profit built into that? Where are the $500 an hour attorneys from Loch Lord, all right?
And where is anybody in the General Assembly? Where's the bill forbidding moral obligation bonds, which have been illegal in the state of New York since the mid-1970s?
It's just at a certain point, when do we just give up? At a certain point, when do we just say, let's let the whole mess collapse?
I don't know. I'm not particularly in favor of that. But they're not making it. They're almost making a case for it with all the outrageous things that they're producing, in the past 6 months between the ballpark and now the toll proposal and the absolutely ridiculous trolley.
Right. I forgot about the trolley.
No, okay. So the green guy's going to jump in here because this is public transit. We love all things public transit in the Green Party.
Yeah, we know.
And I'll tell you right now that a trolley, a downtown trolley, is actually a revenue generator, but only if it's drawing people from the outlying suburbs into those downtown areas, which this trolley proposal doesn't stand to do. I mean, it's 1.6 miles, for God's sake.
Picky.
Right. That's a great point.
Well, Monique, listen, thanks for joining us, and don't be a stranger. And we are going to have you guys on the show soon. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much, Pat.
Take care, Monique.
We've only got about a minute and a half left in this episode of As the Stomach Turns.
We do have a comment here on Facebook. Came in from Nancy Thomas.
Ah, okay.
And she says, Gina fails. Health source fee. Taylor Swift tax. Private school busing and books. And on our way to the truck toll.
Yeah, it kind of sums. We forgot about the private school, but yeah. we forgot about all that. Wow. If you go up to the Fight the Stadium page that we've been involved in, the phone numbers are up there, and I guess the focus of that page, of course, is helping be a source of information for the fine people, including good friend Progressive Democrat who are involved in the petition drive in Providence. But the numbers are there. Take a few minutes this week. It looks like the closing music is starting to wake up, but take a few minutes this week and express your fundamental outrage to the people at the end of those phone numbers. 222-2080, Governor Raimondo's office. Any member of the House Finance Committee who's going to be considering these messes over the next few weeks. It's up to you folks. At this point, pretty much we've gone to hell in a handbasket. There's not much left, and there's very little time left. If you care about the state, if you care about where you live, do something. You've been listening to The Coalition on Talk Radio, Facebook.com/The Coalition Radio, on the mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio, CoalitionRadio.us. Have a wonderful week. Check out our podcast. Check out last week's show, and we'll see you next week.